Brought to you by Sammy Bronze. He is live on the joint.
Yeah,
What it is?
yeah, yeah. What up, what up, what up, what up, DJ LC? What
How you
up, what
feeling,
up, what
brother?
up, Keith, yes, radio. Thank you
Everything
for
good?
having me, man. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, bro. I'm all right. Thank you for taking the time.
No stress, no stress. We gotta make time.
That's
Gotta make
dope. That's
time.
dope. That's dope. Let's just start off with the basics, the history of it all.
All right.
Um, where when did it all start?
Yo, where did it all start? I guess the earliest memories of making music, especially my own. It was
Yeah,
probably in high school. We are started with the writing poetry, something that developed into from sonnets to slam poetry. I
yeah,
don't know if you remember back in the days, there were these compilations called English Alive
yeah. I do.
series. Yeah, so
It just
one
took
of
me
my
back.
poems, yeah,
It just took me
right,
back.
all the way back. So,
Yeah.
I made it to one of those compilations. And
Uh-huh.
then, later, varsity years, the poetry developed into slam.
Sure.
And then
Yes.
the slam took me back to rap because I did rap in high school, but I focused on
Yeah.
the poetry as well as, my first couple of years in varsity. Then it developed itself again into, the rap. And after that,
Yeah.
I never
It
looked
took
back.
off. Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So
Yeah.
and then when you started writing, when did you actually find, that okay, fine, we're taking this all the way, from your first single to about now, but when did the inspiration come about, okay, fine, as Bronze, this is what we're doing. We're going hard now. There's no turning back. We can do this, but we're going in.
We're going in. Um I think it was round about the time I started getting a buzz after I had a single on Hype magazine. I had a
Okay.
joint, I had another underground, if you know,
Back in
you
the
know,
day.
I had a joint called Jonga Chan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Back in the
saying?
day. Yeah.
Back in the days, I can't believe it's been that long.
How long
Um,
has it been now?
I mean, I recorded that joint in 2009.
It's been a while.
Uh,
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while.
it's, it's
That is
been a while,
crazy. Yeah.
I recorded a
Gee
joint in
whiz.
2009. I had another joint called 90s Flow. Both those joints went into my first EP, as
Okay.
well as our, collective, because I hooked up with Amachita Alice, because that's where
Yeah.
I'm from. And
Mm.
we tried to release some music. But I think it's one about that time. And funny enough, that single came out when I was also doing community radio back home.
Okay. All right.
So it would lend itself to that trait. Um, that's when I was like, hey man,
Uh,
I think I can do this.
yeah. Also, I think a very little known fact about you is that you're also on radio. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, because
I've I am, and it
yeah,
right about that time with Jonga Chat, I got into community radio,
yeah,
and I was like, look, I'm fresh out of varsity. I am going to practice the skill. You know what I'm saying? As well as I know, people, anytime Dick and Harry thinks they can do what you do,
yes, yes.
they don't
It's
know
all
the
fun.
prep
It's all
that
fun
goes.
and games until they have to.
It's all fun and games until they have to, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
who is just watching you making it look seamless. They
yeah.
don't know what's
True.
going on behind. So I told myself, I'm going to do this thing. You know,
Sure.
before that, I was a community reporter. I was writing. You know what I'm saying? So I really
Yeah.
did cut my journalism teeth. Whilst the Jonga Chap thing was happening, now it's blowing up. What? But I could not promote it the way I wanted to because I
Uh-huh.
had to be around
Uh-huh.
for radio. And
Yes.
so, you know, when the song was hot, I couldn't maximize it. But
To its full
I feel like
potential
I still could. But when the song was hot, I had to concentrate on
on
community
radio.
radio.
Uh
Yeah.
like you just said, now you if you think you could still, revive the track. Um do you have any inclination to do that? Is there is it in the talks? Are you still in talks with the guys?
I am still in talks with the guys, but if there was a point where I wanted to make a part two of Jonga Chep, right?
Okay, all
New,
right.
new production, new just a continuation of the song. I could either do that or revisit the song,
Yeah.
and I'm like, ah, which one is more? Do I want to revisit the song? Because as underground artists at the time, you could get away with using samples, because
Yeah, no, for
people
sure, for
don't
sure.
know that's a Kenny G sample on Jonga Chat. And
Uh-huh.
that sample is not even the original. The original sample is taken from Kenny Edmonds, otherwise
Okay.
known as
It's
Babyface.
Babyface. Yeah, yeah,
So you just hearing Kenny G playing the sax, but
yeah.
the original guy that was harmonizing
Was
is
Babyface.
Babyface, and it's taken from that what's the name of the song? But it goes, and every time I
Yes,
close
with
my
Mariah
eyes,
Carey. Yeah,
that
that
song.
song. Yeah.
Yes. I've got you. Yeah. So,
That one.
so it's that one. So I mean, I'm like, do I want to go through that again? I
Uh,
got away with it then because no one knew who we were. But now
yeah.
that I got a bit of notoriety now, if I release
There's
a song
there's
like that,
they're just
they're
gonna
gonna
jump
come
on
for
you.
me.
Yeah.
They're
They're
gonna
gonna
come
take
for
you
me.
out. They're gonna
Yeah,
take
they're
you out.
gonna come for me. So I remember
Yeah.
there's a
So
song I wanted to do, right?
uh
I think it's back in 2016, 17.
sure.
And I had already signed to my first label then. We released a compilation called Get Busy. And I remember I wanted to sample Umdu.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh
dun,
yeah,
dun.
the Mashamplan track. Uratlal.
Yeah, and I
Yes,
remember
yeah,
I hit up someone who was working at Triple Nine at the time
yeah.
to hit up Umdu. They got back and Du was like, he can have the sample as long as I get 100%.
Non-compromise. Yeah. Oh man.
So these are
That's
the things that we deal with, and I'm like, is it
yes,
worth
yes,
the
yes.
rather go make a fresh track, my G? Sort it
You,
out with your
you
producer,
understand?
sort it out with your
Yeah,
whoever.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'd make a new one now if
Okay.
I had to revisit that. Yeah.
But are you like do you still talk with the guys, or is there
Yeah, yeah. It
is
was
there
Sambo on the original track.
yeah,
Sambo, another, the genre, the feel we had at that time was a lot of boom bap, traditional
yeah, for
hip
sure, for
hop that
sure.
we were doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Sambo, I was working with dudes called Sambo and Ecstasy. Sambo from King Williamstown, Ecstasy
Uh-huh.
from Mtata, I think. Dope, 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 dope beat makers.
Sure, sure.
And so I would revisit that. I still talk to Sambo. I haven't spoken to Ecstasy
Uh,
in donkey years. You know what I'm saying?
sure, sure.
But I definitely just talk to them and say, look, this is the approach I want to take for Jonga Chap. You
Mm.
know, because there are people who remember that song and they're like, Bronze, why don't you
Why don't you
remaster
do
that song and re-release it
yeah,
again? You know what I'm saying? But I believe I can leave that as is.
uh-huh.
If I have enough, muscle behind me, then we can go
That's
back and
yeah,
revisit.
yeah, yeah. If you got the legal team, if you have the
Exactly.
legal team.
Because
So
people will tell you about, ooh, don't join
a label, yeah.
labels. But I'm like, I hear you, but equally, if you're gonna be independent, you need a strong team.
Yes,
and
yes,
there's a lot of muscle you need for indie, and there's a lot of money that you need. Like
that you
there's
need.
money that comes out of your own pocket for this.
Yes, for distro and all that stuff. That all of that stuff. Twin. So
Yeah, but
yeah. So talking about labels, now, and the bad rip that they have now.
yeah,
Um, do you think it is wise? I'm asking from a general like now
yeah,
I'm using my radio presenter hat. you know, using
yeah.
that hat now. Yeah.
Now let's
Um,
go there, my G.
is it wise? Do you really think it is a viable option? And I know we just spoke about the rands and cents of it all,
Yeah.
but for an artist coming in, do you
Mm.
think it is viable for them to immediately join labels?
I think it is viable that you know what you want as an
Okay,
artist,
okay, all
first
right,
and
all right,
foremost.
okay,
So that sets the premise for everything. If you know what you want and you know how you want to get there,
okay,
then it will be easier to justify your decisions. So you can sign to a label and you can bear the brunt of what comes with it, and you can experience the fruit that comes with it. If you are able to read a contract,
sure.
if you are able to take your contract and give it to your manager or give it to a lawyer, especially if that manager is not a part of the label, he needs to be
They used to be independent.
he needs to be independent of the
Yeah,
label.
yeah.
If you know these things and know what you want, then you are in the right direction.
Oh, okay,
However, the independent route also has its ups and downs and will most probably take longer, the independent route.
okay.
Yes, there are exceptions. Case in point, Elaine. Elaine as a singer, it probably was 2 years max after the Columbia thing blew up.
Yeah,
She got
yeah.
signed to Columbia. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't happen for everyone. She was
Of
fortunate.
course.
She's
Yes.
dope,
Is an
but she
exception to
was
the rule.
fortunate. Yeah, she was fortunate, but she was fortunate to have a strong team behind her, strong manager, up until that build up where they could sit down with a major and say, hey, here's a South African vocalist. She's dope. She's beautiful. She's got the aesthetic. We can do
Yeah,
something. I know you guys are looking for something in Africa. Here's an artist. Columbia
I,
jumped.
yeah,
But for the most part, the independent road is long and your pockets run dry and you need a strong team.
yeah.
So I would always play devil's advocate when it comes to a label. I've
Okay.
experienced the ups and downs of a label. In fact, I remember a conversation you and I had at some point where you were like, "Are you sure you want to sign
Yeah.
to such and such?" We're not going to mention who. And I did sign, right?
Yeah.
And long story short, I was bearing the brunt of that. My songs never got released. I've
Yeah.
got a dope catalog there, but they never got released. And I saw what he was trying to do for artists. He did things for
Yes.
artists. I can
Yes.
never take that away
There,
from
there,
him.
there was some good that was coming
There
from it.
was some good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have
Yeah.
never signed. But
Okay.
it certainly came with its setbacks. So
Yeah.
for me, I'd say just know what you're into. Just take a bit of time to understand what you're getting into
Yeah. Yeah.
before you decide either or.
Okay. All right.
So I'll
That
always play both sides.
I see that you've got the fence on this one. You've got the fence.
Yeah, yeah, I'm on the fence with this one.
Talking about your catalog, we I think a lot of people started recognized you when I think when you dropped Peter Pan. I think that one was heavily marketed.
Peter Pan, yeah, again, out of my
Yeah.
pockets.
that,
You know what I'm
that,
saying?
that one burnt a hole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously you yourself. you do what the label does. It's just that to yourself,
Yeah.
which is 360.
Yes.
And 360 deals are what are being signed right now. 360 deals, what they basically mean are um, a piece of everything. 360 as in a circle. Your
Yes.
your marketing, your promo, your production, your shows, your merchandising, your any deals you make outside of your music while you're still in the label, we get a
Uh-huh.
percentage off. That's a 360 deal, right?
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
you have to 360 yourself as an independent artist, which means even the random pop-ups on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram that you may see of an artist, I paid for. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? So yes, Peter Pan was definitely a joint that brought me up a notch.
Yeah.
Shot the video for it. Shout out to Hisham. Shout out to the Cosby Kids creative agency. They assisted me with that video. You know, and he also assisted me in the photography of my current
Of
EP. Do you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So yes, Peter Pan is definitely that joint that made me go, hey, who's this cat? After I'd
Yeah.
released songs like Sun
Yes.
Sokolisa,
Yeah.
after I
Yeah.
was involved in a group called Gray's Opus, people started saying, yo, Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Okay, this is quite the concept. Peter Pan in the trap. Okay,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And so yeah, after that I saw things and I saw how, because at that same year when I released that EP, I revisited another mixtape that I was a part of and I marketed that one. You know what I'm saying?
Uh.
I was able to sell physical copies in the digital age. You know what I'm saying?
that was
Something
that was a big step. That was a big
yeah,
one.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
a
yeah.
big one. You were selling CDs against iTunes.
Against
You
iTunes.
were-
You know what I'm saying?
That's what you
Because
were doing. You were selling
the
CDs.
label, the label started the label had taken everything down. The
Okay.
label took everything down on all DSPs. The label fell apart. I was
Uh-huh.
like, yo. And then the engineer and the executive producer called me saying, it's this old white guy. Hey, Sammy, bro, just come and get this stuff, eh? When I get there, it's boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes.
Of
So I was
CDs.
literally moving shipments, selling from the boot of my car, selling
uh,
from home. If I'm in Eastern Cape, I'm selling. If I'm in Durban and I know people, I'm selling. That that mixtape sold really in the
okay.
midst of, and I
Of a
remember selling it
crisis.
in yeah,
Yeah.
when you go home, when you're from Joburg, you go home, you come back after December, you come back broke, you know.
Yeah.
And I had sold so many of those CDs. I had money for food, I had money for electricity, I had
You were
money for
balling.
petrol, I had money for groove in the middle of
Yeah.
January.
Wow.
You know what I'm
So
saying? So
yeah. Just
yeah,
before we
man.
wrap it up, Bronze, I want to talk about your musical style. There's there's
Yeah,
there's 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 a couple of things I want to talk about musically. Your
for
your
sure.
your your musical style is sort of reminiscent of an era like what you're dressed as right now. You
Yeah.
know, you know, what was the thing? What was the thinking behind, because I know the difference between a Peter Pan and Yonke.
Yeah.
The difference is very evident. So
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, there was a rebrand. What was the thinking behind that?
It was, you could say it was a rebrand, but it was also something that has been there for a while.
Okay.
Again, like you and I have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you remember, I was not the rapper that really hung around other rappers.
That's
I was
true.
the
That's
rapper
true.
that
That's
hung
true.
around other groovies.
Yes. The
You
likes
know
of
what I'm
us.
saying?
The likes
You
of
know what I'm
me.
saying? I hung around other groovies.
Yes.
I
No,
hung
for sure.
around
For sure.
people that love
Definitely.
groove,
Yeah.
period. And so
Period.
I'm a heavy Kwaito fan. I
Yeah.
am a heavy R&B fan. And so you could see these remnants in songs like Sun Sokolisa that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did. you could see, okay, this guy's taking a different approach now. Okay.
Yes.
And so that was, by the time you hear Yonge, it's a combination of, okay, I see the
Yeah.
journey.
It
You can
was it was
tell
it
this
was it was
guy.
actually progressive. It
Yes,
wasn't, there was nothing abrupt about it, but it sort of felt like you were actually rebranding right in
yeah,
front of our faces. It was sort of
yeah.
like coming out of a cocoon. So and
And so
it
by the time you hear dust, you're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
makes sense.
big,
Makes sense, makes sense.
bro.
Let's talk future plans. What's in the pipeline?
What is in the pipeline is for me to promote my singles, Yonke and Dust, on all
Uh-huh.
DSPs. Hopefully, I'm hoping, I'm crossing fingers I can, because it's hard to get, I feature a big artist on Dust.
Yeah.
So it'll be hard for me to get Homeboy to shoot the video. But if I can get him and if I can organize myself, the plan is to shoot a video for Dust. The
Okay.
plan is still to promote my EP Rhythm and Bronze. And the plan is definitely, definitely, definitely more collaborations.
Yeah.
Expect another collab to come out of this
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Can you talk about it? Just yet?
Um,
Okay, let me do it like this so you don't give anything away. What is your collaboration wish list for the future?
yo, top of my head, if I could, KO,
Okay.
Msaki, um, Reason,
Okay.
um, who else? Major League.
Okay. So you want to drop on like a piano beat of sorts.
It doesn't need to be piano.
Okay. But
Um,
as long
you
as
know,
they're there.
those guys have traction, like unbelievable traction right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially now that they've just signed with Atlantic, a big, big, big deal.
Yeah.
So if I could, I mean, these are there's a lot of artists I'd want to collab with, but top of my head, you
Yeah.
know, those are some of the people I'd want to collab with. You know
Okay.
what I'm
Pretty
saying?
dope. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. Sam, time for us to get up out of here, dog. Thank you so much for affording me the time, man.
DJ LT, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Dust is out on all DSPs. Young is out on all DSPs. Thank you, Keith and Gessi Radio, for bumping my joints. Appreciate the love and support, man.
Peace
Aware.
out, dog. I'm gonna talk to you soon.
Aware.
And
Dango.
as we get up out of here, man, this is his chart topping single. This is Dust, the Semi Bronze. He features Kid X. Welcome to the show. It's time for us to get up out of here. Thank you, Semi Bronze. Peace out to you, player.
Aware. Dango.